You're welcome to Periclez. This is your favorite personal development and self-help platform. Here we get to talk about books and all of the beautiful benefits we can derive from them to help us become the very best version of ourselves. My name is Inyang Ate Inyang, and I'm your host on this show. Now, everybody wants to be loved, and everybody desires to give love back in return. But navigating through life without a clear understanding of how exactly love works may cause you a lot of frustration and mishaps in life. That is why we are talking about yet another interesting book today, The 5 Love Languages, written by Gary Chapman. And I have with me here in the studio a medical doctor turned preacher, an entrepreneur par excellence, my personal friend of over 2 decades.
Wow.
Dr. Chinedu Nwosu.
I'm glad to be here.
So you're welcome.
Oh yeah, I'm glad to be here.
And I really appreciate your being here. This is the second time you're coming here, and I do not take it for granted. I know you're a very busy person.
Always an honor.
Thank you very much.
Always an honor.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, I came to church, and I heard you dissecting this book.
The 5 Languages of Love.
And I thought I needed to bring you here so you could share your thoughts with the viewers on this platform about this book.
Okay.
Why so much passion?
Well, as a doctor, a marriage counselor, and a pastor, we are faced with challenges in marriages and relations, not just marriages, relationships generally. So I asked myself, what is the one book I can recommend for somebody to read that I think they can get at least a lot of things that will help them develop their relationships? And I thought of 5 Languages of Love. So I said, you know what? Let's just not make it a book club thing. Let's all talk about it, preach about it, and then talk to the couples and those in relationships about the 5 Languages of Love. And that's how come you see us have that book and discuss the book.
Interesting. Now, without a book like this, we had successful marriages in the past.
Yes.
Our mothers, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers. What is happening today? The rate of divorce
is increasing. Well, I can't tell you for certain what exactly is happening, but I know that this book will help to reduce the rate of divorce because it's really increasing. In fact, it's not just increasing in so-called unbelievers now, but everybody, even in the church. So that's why a book like this becomes very important. Perhaps there's certain things that our parents knew that somehow has been lost in translation as we have evolved, that we need a book like this to remind us of the 5 love languages.
Well, do you think our mothers, our grandmothers, and our grandfathers and our fathers were practicing certain things here, but they were not documented, perhaps?
It's possible, but I honestly doubt that.
Okay.
But I think it's possible. There are other factors that perhaps is beyond the scope of what we're discussing today.
So you feel this is particularly mindful of the peculiarity of this time?
Of these times. And I think that the peculiarity of these times demands that we have a book like this to remind us of what is the most important things to look out for in relationships if we want the relationships to work and we want to reduce the tendencies of divorce and other broken homes. That's very important.
Okay, so let's go to the book. What is this author trying to say?
Okay,
the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman.
First of all, I want to encourage you to please, if you're listening, go and read the book. There's so many things we can't say here because of time. But what is he trying to say? He's simply trying to say that every human being speaks a certain kind of language, a certain kind of love language. Just as you are from the Calabar, Akwa Ibom, so you speak Efik. I'm Igbo, so I speak Igbo. I'm from Imo State, I speak Igbo. I have my peculiar language, so you have yours. In the same regard, every human being has one of these 5 languages that they speak, such that when you speak it to them, it communicates love to them. So that's what he's trying to say. So that your responsibility, if you're in any relationship, is to find out what your significant other considers as love and speak that language so that they feel loved in that relationship.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so we want us to go into all of the different love languages.
Yes,
So what are the love languages?
So he breaks them down into 5 love languages. And it's interesting, and because I've really sat down to think about it, and I really can't think of anything outside these 5 love languages.
Okay.
Somehow they all fall into the 5
So it's quite
languages.
adequate.
It's quite adequate. I think it's very adequate. It covers all the angles. First of all, the first love language is words of affirmation. We'll talk about that later. The second one is quality time. The next one is acts of service. The other one is giving of gifts, and the last one is physical touch. So there are 5 of them. And each individual expresses love in one of these 5 languages. So that's the point.
One of these 5.
One of these 5 as a primary language, and then might pick up a second one as a secondary language. Let me give you a simple illustration. Imagine if you're in a relationship with somebody who's Chinese, you're Nigerian, and you love this person. In fact, you love the person die, as we say it in Nigerian tongues. And then you want to show the person you love the person. But anytime you speak English, and this Chinese lady can't understand you. So you will be there thinking that she doesn't want to appreciate your love. But the problem is that she doesn't understand the language you're speaking.
And
you're not
I'm doing my best.
And you're doing your best. And I think in most relationships, that's how it is today. I don't think any 2 people go into marriage not loving each other. I think they love each other. But somewhere along the line, they fail to understand the love language of the person they've gone into a relationship with. And they stop speaking it. And the person now felt unloved. And from there, it goes down.
I think this is very, very powerful.
Very powerful.
Wow. So let's take the love languages one after the other. What do you want to start with?
The first one is what he calls words of affirmation.
Okay.
This kind of person considers words as the most important expression of your love.
As in
encouraging love.
The word encourage. Okay.
Encouraging words, words that make them feel good about themselves, that build them up. So they consider. Now, all of us love to hear words that make us feel
positive
happy,
things
as a positive
about
thing.
us.
But this kind of individual doesn't just see it as something good. They see it as you love me. So when you're encouraging me, you love me. For this kind of individual, words speak louder than action. Words speak action than gifts. And words also speak louder than physical time or spending time with that person. All they want is your words. Keep pouring your words out.
They just want to hear those wonderful things.
And I think that most people actually fall into this particular love language. Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. So if that kind of person will certainly not understand you when you are speaking using
negative words. Yes.
Negative words.
Yeah, so that kind of person, when you're criticizing that person, is just simply going to see it as maybe you don't love me anymore. So it's not that you shouldn't criticize the person, but over criticizing that person is going to be interpreted that this man doesn't love me or this lady doesn't love me anymore, because words are very important to them. Very powerful tools to them.
To the person.
Yeah.
Now the second love language.
The second love language is quality time. Of course, I'm putting them in any order.
Okay.
Quality time. This kind of person loves to spend time with you. He loves time to hang out with you, to go out with the person. Vacation. Sometimes not even as big as that. Simple things that you come back home, you spend time with me.
Okay.
Loves to be in your space.
Okay.
Now, all of us want to spend time with people that we like. But for this person, it goes beyond that. He loves me or she loves me anytime she's taking out time to stay with me. And that kind of time is not just time, but quality time. So it's not that they're watching TV together with the person. No.
What defines it as quality?
Focus. You're focusing attention. You are focusing on all your attention on that individual.
Okay, there are people like that.
There are people like that.
They just want you, in the middle of all of this chaos.
It's me. I'm the most important thing. And you rather spend time with me than do any other thing. Wow. That shows me that you love me. That's quality time. So for this person, spending time with the person is more important than what you say. It's more important than the gifts you buy. It's more important than touching the person. Quality time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now the third
one is acts of service. This kind of person just loves to be served. Not served as if the person is your boss. But he just loves little gestures, doing little gestures.
Not necessarily about servitude.
Not servitude, no, not little gestures. Relieving them of certain things that they consider as stressful to them. So when you do those things, you're serving them. Take, for example, a woman who has just given birth will love to be served. Love for you to help to vacuum the house, take care of the home, take care of the baby, carry all those things, wash the car, or even cook if you have to cook. When you're doing those things, you're serving her. She sees it as love. So you might talk. If you have not done those simple things, she considers as acts of service that will make her life better. She feels you don't love her.
Okay, but that's quite interesting, because she just had a child.
Yes.
Now, when this child is grown, how else does she need for you?
No, there are other things you can now do. You can rub her feet.
Yeah.
You can do things for her. You can, whatever activity she does that encumbers her, when you relieve those activities, you're showing her that you're speaking a language, saying, I love you. Enkumba, yeah.
Now, does that mean that it has to be relieving to the person.
Yes, most likely.
What about the case where you just do something just because you want to do it and not necessarily because you've identified it as a challenge that needs to be taken care of? Will that matter?
Well, of course, like you know, in all languages, there are also dialects.
Oh,
so
wow.
that might fall into a dialect.
Okay.
So for some person, you don't have to take away something that encumbers me. For some person, you just do what you feel you have to do to make me feel happy. But that I can call that a little dialect. But the basic thing is you must be doing something. The person likes actions.
Okay.
Your actions speak louder than your words. Your actions speak louder than whatever you're doing, whatever you give me. Actions. Show me you love me. Show me in your actions towards me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll go to the fourth. I believe that's the fourth.
Yeah.
Which is receiving
gifts. This one is, no matter what you say, you have to giftize it or monetize it. You can't just say you love me without giving. Now, everybody loves gifts. I know you love gifts. I love gifts as well.
I love gifts.
But for this kind of person, when you give a gift, you show that you love. For example, my language is words of affirmation. You don't have to give me a gift. But if you tell me you appreciate me or you encourage me, you're loving me.
Okay.
All right, for this person, everything boils down to a gift. Now, it doesn't have to be an expensive gift. It can just be a simple thing like a card written out, showing that you were thinking about them, and then you give them that card. That is a special thing.
That means
or
it
you
doesn't
travel.
have to be expensive.
No. In fact, they don't even want it to be expensive most times because you have to differentiate it from materialism. Some people who just want the bling bling.
Yeah,
this person is not interested in that. You can travel somewhere and just get a stone.
Gesture.
The gesture, get a stone and say, this stone reminds me of you. And then I wrote your name on it, of this stone. So please keep this stone. That stone will be a treasured commodity because it's a gift.
And no matter what other thing you've been doing, this is the most important.
Until you do this one.
Until you do this one.
You have not
because you're wondering, I've been spending time with you.
Yeah.
I've been telling you wonderful things. But
it's okay. But
is it the small stone that will make the difference?
Exactly. So for this kind of person, that's what they're looking out for. Gifts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then the
last one is physical touch.
Physical touch.
This one's you just like hugs. You have to touch them. You have to hold them. Now, you also have to differentiate that from sex. Most men like sex. It doesn't mean that their love language. So you have to take out sex exact. So if you take out sex from the equation, what other things can you do to touch, to connect, to express your love? That's what this person goes out for. So they love to hold hands. They love to hug. In fact, I met a young man some days ago I was counseling a couple. They're just dating. I was like, what do you think is your to-be's love language? And this is the first time I'm hearing it. She said, I know it. It's just physical touch. The man loves physical touch. And guess what it is? Hugs. The man loves hugs. A man loves hugs. And she says that, in fact, when you hug him, he can actually tell you, thank you. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for hugging me. Thank you for hugging me. I was like, what? He said that is it. That he begs for hugs. If he sees you, just wants to hug you.
Hug me.
He just wants to. That's a man. A big man with a pot belly. I was like, what? I was like, that is his language.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone through those five languages, the words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. Now, there was something this author, Gary Chapman, said in this book. I think he talked about a particular language being your primary language and the other one being
your secondary language. Yes. Just like in normal life as well, the verbal language that we use, we typically have a primary language and a secondary language. My primary language is English. My secondary language is Igbo. In the same regard, somebody's primary language can be words of affirmation. So that's the main thing he really wants as love. But then sometimes he also requires another one, acts of service as well, to add to that. A typical place where you see such things is in when sometimes a love language can shift because of a particular status or a position somebody finds themselves.
Season of life.
A season of life, that's the word. That's a better word to use. So you have a woman whose primary love language is words of affirmation. But now she has just given birth, she has 3 children, or she has a set of twins. You have to change her love language for that time is going to change to acts of service. You have to help her with that child. You can't be telling her you love me, nice things, and you don't come and help with the child.
Even though you were doing what she used to like before.
Yes.
It's no longer enough.
Because for where she is this season, what is important to her is acts of service. So it's a secondary language that has bubbled up to the top. That's become a primary language. That season. So these things can change. But from his book, he states clearly that every individual usually has one primary language for the rest of their lives.
Okay.
It can change with seasons, but after that season goes and they're back to normalcy, they still maintain that primary love language.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, so much about love language, and it sounds like it's all about relationships,
Yes.
as in families and all that.
Yes.
There was, I think, there was a place in this book where he urged that you will be able to apply this to
Exactly. To
in
your
the
workspace.
workspace.
In the workspace as well.
And also your children.
To the children.
Okay, you want to talk about that?
Oh yeah, especially the children as well. Let's remember that we have children who also have these long love languages from birth. So yeah, he puts it that way. It's something that they are developed with. So to have a healthy relationship with your child, one of the first things a parent must do is to find out what is the love language of this child, because it can be different from one child to the other. So that when you find out what the love language is, you're able to relate with that child instead of comparing. You can't say, well, I give words of affirmation to all of you. You should all know I love you.
Oh, wow.
No, but mine is not words of affirmation.
As a child?
As a child. Mine is
As in the father is doing
time.
all he can to make sure that he is not partial. He's given to all of the children.
Maybe his father understands love as words of affirmation too. So he's giving it, and he keeps doing it and cannot connect to the child.
But it's misfiring.
He's misfiring completely. Or for some rich parents, I think they can just throw money around. Yeah, you can throw all the money around you want, as in that can now be gifts, receiving gifts. Yeah. But that's not what the child wants.
The child
just
wants
your
time.
Just want your time. So one child might not want the time that much. The other one might want, So you need to find out which language every child speaks, and then you're able to communicate. I think it's important we state here that the basic fulcrum in learning these 5 languages is so that you know how to give love to people who are around you. It's not about struggling to say this way you must love me. No.
It's not necessarily about receiving.
About receiving. It's all about learning giving, how to give. Because love is really about giving. That's the point.
And then the workspace.
The workspace, yeah. In your offices, I know you can have sometimes a very difficult boss. But sometimes your bosses or your superiors are not really difficult. There is a language that they understand as love that you're not speaking to them yet. It goes beyond your deliverables, but speaking the kind of language that they are called, that you love and you appreciate them. Not romantic love now, but just the love that is needed in a family or in a workspace environment. So I think every individual, everybody in the office must know the love language of their bosses, and the bosses too must know the love language of those working under them, so they can get the best out of them.
As you just know how to enter your boss.
Exactly. Just know how to enter your boss, and the boss should know how to also enter the
because you want them to
them to perform.
Yes. So you need to know exactly how to.
See, love is a need. We all need to be loved. It's like food. We need to be loved. So every individual is going to gravitate towards the place where he thinks he's been loved, and will give his best towards the thing that is being loved. For those, so love is a need that God has put inside of us when He created us. Don't forget, the Bible says that God is love. So if you were created in His image, then we are love. There's something inside of us that wants to be filled by love. So that's the point.
We're not going to forget very important concept, the love tank.
The love tank, yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah, the love tank. Now, every individual also has a love tank, just like you drive a car and you have a fuel tank. And in that fuel tank, you have fuel. So when your tank is full, you are on top of the world. You can drive anywhere you want to. You just feel confident that your tank is full. Have you ever driven a car with red and you're driving, you're looking at it, you're like, I don't know if I can make it to where I'm going to. You feel unsure. You're not very confident. In the same regard, we also have love tanks. If our love tanks are full, we feel loved. We feel on top of the world. We feel that we can take over of the receiver. Every individual. If my love tank is full, I'm going to feel that I'm on top of the world. So if I'm in a relationship with you, your responsibility is to make sure you're filling my love tank by speaking my language. When you speak my language, you are like pouring fuel into my love tank.
I think you're such a prolific teacher. I mean, is it about this book? I mean, it's huge. I mean, the way you're breaking it down, I'm seeing it in a little. I thought I read the book.
What can I say? What can I say?
Nice one.
Everything is coming from the book. There's nothing new I'm saying. All inside the book. So let me encourage that.
Okay, so is there something in this book you feel you have left out that you probably want to talk about? Would you recommend this book to everybody?
I would recommend this book to everybody. Yeah, we didn't talk about walking in love and falling in love.
Okay.
Yeah. You see, in every relationship, there's always the high point when we're all excited, when we fall in love. And then we all think that everything is going to continue that way. But it's been proven, and from his studies, he said that he had done some research, and he's discovered that that falling in love euphoric period only lasts an average of 2 years. So it means that after 2 years, you will have to stand in love. You will wake up and stand up. When you fall, you have to stand up.
You will have to stand up.
Eventually stand up.
As they now face.
And now face the realities. It is at that point that you better make sure you are able to speak the right love languages. Or else, when this euphoria is on and you're all excited, the love languages don't bother you because you're really too much. You're all over the place. You're not thinking properly. But when all the emotions die down, and then you now have to face love for what it is, that's when this book comes in.
He said 2 years, and that sounds like a period when people get to date. How long do you think people should date?
Well, I think that people should date for at least a year.
For at least a year?
At least a year.
So you carry that euphoria into your...
Yes, so you can at least carry the euphoria into marriage. into your marriage. You run for the first year of the marriage. Then by the second year, you better go and...
Because sometimes we're preparing for the wedding and we're not preparing for the marriage.
Yeah,
so we need to be able to date for at least 1 year?
At least a year, I think for at least a year you should. It doesn't mean you know everything in a year. No. Because marriage is self-discovery. We discover ourselves. Even the individuals in the marriage don't even know themselves very well. It's in the marriage that you discover yourself.
Yes, so. Can you certainly discover your love life? Of course, certainly. I think that's some strange question because a lot of people are already getting married without even knowing their own love language.
Oh yes, they don't even know. And in fact, I didn't even really realize. For me, for example, and I've been teaching marriage for a while. I didn't really even realize that my love language was words of affirmation. It didn't occur to me.
You like to be called that?
Yeah. I now started listening. I started thinking of all my past relationships that people have known and why I was drawing close to them. And I realized that it's because of the words of affirmation they were giving me. Yeah, so I now realized that is the key. Because I don't really, I'm not into gifts and all of that and all of that. You don't have to spend time with me. No. Just give me
just
the right
tell you those things
right.
that make
me feel good.
Make you feel good.
Then
you love
me.
Now, what about people taking advantage of the knowledge of your love language?
Unfortunately, there are evil people that will always exploit it, unfortunately. So please keep yourself, be guarded. That's why when you're falling in love, please make sure there are other people who are objective, who at least can mentors, who are mentors or counselors that you kind of accountable to, so they can help you look out for certain things, because you can actually be exploited, because it becomes a weak point for you.
Because if I know someone just loves gifts, and I just want to be, what do I use? I'm not coming with any seriousness.
Yes.
I just give you gifts for as long as I want you around.
Oh, sure.
And it's a strange...
Oh, sure.
It's a strange application of knowledge.
Of course, strange and manipulative application of knowledge. And there are many people like that who try to manipulate others. So that's essentially the thing. So be guarded.
Wow. Dr. Chinedu Nwosu, you've been doing justice. He's been doing justice to a very interesting book, The 5 Love Languages, written by GARY CHAPMAN. How will you rate this book on a scale of 1 to 10?
Wow.
Or you want to rate relative to every other love book? Okay, so let's base it on
relative to every other love book I've read?
Yes.
I will give it a 9.
You give it a 9?
I'll give it a 9, almost a 10.
Almost a 10.
The book makes sense.
It was quite revealing.
It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And because he was able to open up some new realities to me, I felt
people
that
love,
it was
new information as a new, that's a revelation.
Yeah, very good. There's so many books that are talking about love, but this one really hit something on hit the nail on the head in a very different way.
So you recommend this to everybody?
I recommend everyone, to read the book.
Everyone.
For those who are hoping to get into a relationship, those who are in a relationship, those who are in a marriage.
And those that are falling out too?
Those who are falling out, they even need it more. I call them those who are in complicated relationships.
Okay.
They need it more.
Really?
Everyone. Complicated relationships.
Complicated relationships.
It's complicated.
It's complicated.
So you're either single, you're married, or it's complicated.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you so much, man.
Dr. Chinedu Nwosu.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Viewers, we've been reviewing The 5 Love Languages, written by GARY CHAPMAN. If you find this review interesting, please like, comment, and share with your friends. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please do so. If there's a book you feel we should review, please put it on the comment section. This is Pericles, your favorite personal development and self-help platform. Here, we try to talk about books and see all of the wonderful benefits we can derive from them to help us become the very best versions of ourselves. Inyang Ate Inyang is my name, and I am the host on this show. Thank you very much for listening and for watching.